My name is Kerry Neumann. I am from the company called SoundThinking, and we're formerly ShotSpotter, the gunshot detection company. I'm a customer success director for them. In my prior life, I retired from the Omaha Police Department in 2020 after serving 25 years there, and then used ShotSpotter in Omaha since 2011 through patrol operations, criminal investigations, crime analysis, and things of that nature. And then, of course, as over the last 6 years and since I've been gone, as things have evolved in law enforcement, the Omaha Police Department and many other agencies probably already had them, but we got a real-time crime center in Omaha, and then now the Omaha Police Department is using drones as a first responder. So let's go to introductions. Like I said, you guys heard about me. Frank Peck is the chief pilot from the Omaha Police Department. Frank, you want to give them your background?
First and foremost, thank you for coming to Omaha. For those of you that are here from out of the area, hope your trip and your conference has been great. My name is Frank. I'm with the Omaha Police Department for my past life, is what I like to call it. I spent 29 and a half years with the Nebraska State Patrol. I was a trooper, and then a canine handler, and on the SWAT side and the tactical side, and then worked my way up through into the aviation side, and ended up retiring in 2019 as the Special Operations Commander. And I was flying our planes and helicopters and all the other toys, as everybody said. At that time, I retired October 18th. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, like probably most of us. Retired October 18th and started here November 1 of 2019. So I took a whopping couple days off and was lucky enough to come in and start handling the OPD side of operations for air support, which kind of carried over. Now we're into the DFR side, which we'll get into when Kerry's done, and we'll talk about it then. So.
All right, yeah, and as Frank said, right across the street, we got the College World Series starting on Friday. Who's got a favorite team in the World Series?
Yeah.
Alabama? Anyone got Alabama and Troy? Anyone else got someone?
The Mount Airs.
Oh no, West Virginia plays Troy, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Fair enough.
Anyone else?
You know.
Georgia Bulldogs, right? First time in a while?
1990, I believe.
Is anyone sticking around for any games? Is anybody sticking around for games?
Chatty.
So these are the only real fans in the room, right? All right, well, typically, and Mark, he's a captain on the police department here, typically the community, Omaha community and the baseball fans pick a team that they wrap their arms around, usually an underdog team, right, Mark? Yes. Who they got this year?
Cinderella story this year would probably be
Troy, right? The Troy Trojans.
Like another Allen.
All right. Okay, so today's presentation is talking about drones as a first responder, but also the gunshot detection system that the Omaha Police Department uses called ShotSpotter, and how ShotSpotter integrates with the drones. And the whole concept and the whole idea behind this is to get to a gunfire incident the fastest. The fastest for a few purposes. One is to render aid to a victim, right? That's the first thing we want to do, is render aid to a victim, right? Always we're going to be checking for suspects at the scene. And then another thing is evidence collection, right? Any witnesses still at the scene, things of those nature. All this stuff is going to help the police have more intelligence. They're going to know what's going on at that scene before their cruiser rolls up on it, okay, through a number of different things. And we'll show you how that all kind of pieces together. Has anyone used ShotSpotter in this room? Is anyone familiar with ShotSpotter? Familiar with it a little bit? Okay, for those of you who aren't, ShotSpotter has a series of sensors, microphones that listen for loud impulsive noises like gunfire. It detects and then it locates precisely where the gunfire came from. All that information is sent out within 60 seconds of gunfire. First of all, the computer detects it and knows where it's at, and then it goes to a reviewer at SoundThinking, and they analyze the data, listen to the gunfire, and then they decide if it's gunfire or if it's something else. It just gets dismissed. If it's gunfire, it gets published to the agency. All right, all that happens within 60 seconds. I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. But the thing about gunfire, and probably with some of the other crimes that occur, but particularly with gunfire, about 80% of gunfire is never reported, right? It doesn't get called in. Someone hears a noise and they don't think it was gunfire. They don't want to get involved, and it just doesn't get reported. So with ShotSpotter, that helps agencies realize more true gunfire incidents in their community, so they're able to develop their responses and develop their plans to reduce gunfire. Real-time alerts get the agencies there faster, and the location and event details. What do they get with a ShotSpotter alert? They get the precise location. It's on a map sent right to their cell phones, their computers in their cars, desktop computers, dispatchers. They all get it at the same time. Real-time crime center gets it at the same time. And they get an audio file. They can hear the gunfire, so they can determine if it was one round. If it was more than one round, was it a singular shooter? Or is there multiple gunfire going on? Was it full auto? Even was it moving? Was it a drive-by shooting, right? When the alert comes out, it has a number on the alert. That's the number of rounds that were detected. And then when you click on the audio file, it breaks it down into each individual shot. So if you imagine a drive-by shooting, the vehicle is going to be moving down the street. It'll plot each individual shot down the street, and it'll say it's traveling westbound at 20 miles per hour or whatever. So all that intelligence is coming into the officers before they even get there. And the more intelligence we have before we get to a scene, obviously the better action we can take. We can formulate our response and know what we're looking for. All right. So when we add in real-time crime centers and then we add in drones as a first responder, here is kind of the workflow that we're going to go through, right? A gun is fired. Okay, the computer detects and locates it. The alert is reviewed by a human reviewer, and in less than 60 seconds, it's going to the police department. It's going to the real-time crime center. It's going to their dispatchers. And now, since the drones as a first responder came along, that precise location is getting integrated right into the drone dashboard and the drone platform. And then the drone is launched, and long before the officers get there, the drone will be on scene, start collecting the aerial surveillance, see what's going on, and then now here comes the cruisers behind it. That's kind of the workflow, okay? And remember, this is significant when 80% of gunfire goes unreported. Again, it could be 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, no one's around. Some people are in an alley somewhere and a shooting happens and no one's calling 911. And you guys know as well as I do that sometimes these shootouts that happen, no one's interested in calling 911 on either side of the team, whatever team they're on, right? All right, next one, Frank. All right, and then force multipliers, right? ShotSpotter is at the tip of the spear of a technology and your technology systems. Because the first thing that's going to happen before any response can occur is that gun's going to be fired. And ShotSpotter is going to detect it, send it to your system, and then following that, it's going to dispatch. You got your real-time crime center command staff, Frank's team and the drones, and it all helps them prioritize their responses and be able to give the officers better information and intelligence before they get there. It provides a common operating picture for decision makers. Next one. Now we got the drones coming in with rapid deployment. Frank will talk to you about their drone docks and where they're at, but they can get there within minutes, as opposed to if you got a cruiser that's 20 minutes away or even 5 minutes away. This drone is going to get there ahead of the officers, even when no one's calling 911. It can help you with, is anyone still at the scene? Is anyone down? Is there a vehicle fleeing the area? All kinds of information that's very valuable for your responding officers. Next one. All right, Omaha has deployed ShotSpotter since 2011. Back then, they didn't have the phone app where they can get the alert on their phone. Didn't have, we could barely get it if at all in our cruisers. But now it's incorporated into patrol investigations, crime analysis, prosecution, right? ShotSpotter is acceptable in court as a product that has proven its evidentiary value. And now, Mark, how long ago did Omaha start Real-Time Crime Center? Do you know?
3 years ago?
3 years ago. So the alerts come directly into the Real-Time Crime Center with a lat and long of exactly where it's at and all the information that's going to the drone as well. Let me share, what's the next slide? Can you see it? You okay? Let me share an incident that happened in Omaha back in 2011, and it'll give you kind of idea and it'll kind of put this thing all into a picture that we can relate to. Post Real-Time Crime Centers, post drone responses. Okay, so in 2011, there was a case, homicide that occurred in Omaha. The case is Nebraska versus Hill. What happened was our police precinct was near in the coverage area where the ShotSpotter sensors are at. 2 officers were out in the parking lot. I don't know what time of night it was, but it was nighttime. They're out in the parking lot getting ready to go on patrol, whatever they're doing, and shots ring off. I think it was like 1, 2 in the morning. Shots ring out, right? They heard them. So the first thing they did was they got on the radio. They told dispatch, we heard gunfire. It's south of our location. We're heading that way. So remember I told you that ShotSpotter alert gets published within a minute? All of a sudden, here comes the ShotSpotter alert. And again, 2011, they didn't have it on their cell phones. They didn't have it on their computers, so they had to rely on dispatchers to tell them where the ShotSpotter alert was at. But the officer said, it's south of here. We're heading that way. Dispatch gets the ShotSpotter alert. Hey, your gunfire is actually north of your location, right? Because whenever we hear noises that we're out somewhere, we might hear gunfire, we're like, hey, did you hear that? Yeah, I heard that. Where'd that come from? It's over there, right? So off the officers go north to where the dispatcher tells them. They said the alert is in an alley. The officers come onto the street. They start going in the alley. Here comes a person out of the alley. They challenge him, draw down on him. He's got a firearm. They end up getting an officer-involved shooting. They wound him, arrest him, take him into custody. Okay? What's the next step they're going to do? Remember that ShotSpotter alert? Right? It was in the alley. So they walk up in the alley. It's dark out. Shine their flashlights. Whoa, there's a guy laying there, shot and killed. Okay? So think about that situation if we had drones flying on that situation at the time. Okay? That ShotSpotter's alert's going to go off. There's no confusion about where the noise came from. The ShotSpotter detected it over here. Drone's going to launch. It's going to fly over there before the officers get there, and they'll be able to see what's going on. Hey, I got a guy in the alley. I got a guy walking out of the alley. He's walking right towards your cruiser, et cetera, et cetera. Just a little bit of tidbit information. That homicide case, that murder case, the guy was charged with first-degree murder. It went to trial. He was convicted of the murder, and then on appeal, the conviction was upheld based on the facts of the case and on the ShotSpotter evidence. So that's pretty much how we're gonna close the gap on what is this technology doing. All right, Frank. Next one is this. Okay, hold on a second. Any questions about anything I've talked about, especially with the ShotSpotter alerts coming in before we launch the drones? Okay, perfect. Frank?
This is just about a 90-second little video, just kind of shows some different things and some incidences, and then we'll get into kind of where we're at. that's, like I said, that's just kind of a quick little video of some things. There's some unique situations on that I'll talk to you about here. That on one of those videos on the shots fired one, the drone was actually utilized. And before we get into that, I guess I'd like to ask, how many people in here are currently operating drones within your unit, in your department? How many of you are utilizing DFR or moving down that path? By hands? Where are you out of, sir?
Just east of Indianapolis.
Okay. Anybody else on the DFR side? So, sir, where are you out? Okay. Kind of some bigger metros, pretty much, or, kind of the way it sounds. So we'll kind of get into that a little bit. If I kind of like the interaction. So if somebody's got something different, I'm not we don't know it all. We like sharing information and passing stuff on. But back to that video, one of the calls on that, what happened was prior to the officers approaching up, we had a drone right there. And it was the drone that, located the vehicle. We got our folks there just from a situational awareness. And we utilized the drone just to kind of go down before the approach team went up. There's video of that. We just dropped the drone down, took a quick look in the car, kind of came back out. Now, obviously, we're not going to clear it because we can only see what we can see, but we told them we're not seeing anything. So there's an officer safety perspective there that was utilized, and it's kind of cool because our folks on the street now are, recognizing having that resource and that capability. Let's just wait a second, let them get a quick set of eyes, and there's thermal video that was shot just to take a quick look and leverage all that. Now, the other side, too, on the fire side, the one where you see the any firefighters in here? Any volunteer firefighters? I mean, anything like that?
Fiction engineer.
Okay, well, that's close. I was just going to say, you're a hero. But anyways, on that, what happened, there's a firefighter that went down, and we happened to get to the call because it came out before the firefighters got there. And so we started, and I'll get into this, we started feeding that information to their fire folks that were arriving. And while they got in there and a firefighter went down, well, they went back and took our video and actually reanalyzed how they responded to that incident and changed some protocol and some policies and some things that they did. So there's great value in some of this information. But we'll get on kind of to what this is all about, and this is about ShotSpotter. So as Kerry said, when the ShotSpotter comes in, the technology now is there that even if we're flying we have a very robust helicopter operation. So if we're in the helicopter, I get an alert on my watch. Usually our TFO will also get an alert. So all that data is sent out, as he stated, to different means. We also get it inside our helicopter. But from the DFR side, as soon as it actually activates and hit, we're going to show you, this is a mock system, a mock alert of kind of how it went. It's just a recorded video, but you'll see, I'll point out a few things here as we go. Do you have that pointer? I wanted to use that laser just to point some stuff out. What I will say is just from my perspective, and I just say this whenever I speak about them, we did a lot of research, and the systems that we're currently operating is Skydio, which is a company. There's a lot out there. It's not, you do whatever you have to do and what works for your ecosystem and works for you. We just as a department are showing you what we have that works for us and our ecosystem. And at the end, I'm going to show you some stats of where we're at just for your reference. But I'm going to start this. What you're seeing here is this is a station. So you've got CAD that's integrated. So when the calls get put in there, they populate right here. You can take your mouse, touch it, and actually fly one of our drones to it. Inside the city, we have about 9 docks in different locations throughout the city. You've probably seen them maybe. Right now, Mark's setting up for, he's command over the College World Series for the next couple of weeks. So we're doing some things, just kind of getting prepped of things that he needs and wants. But we have these locations, and I'll show you our whole ecosystem here in a little bit of how it lays out. But this is just data that's on our screens. And then this is when the drone is actually getting ready. Normally you would not have this until you hit respond to the ShotSpotter. And these are just the drones. This is an overlay map with the locations. We have them at different precincts and different locations throughout the city. So I'm going to start this. And if you have any questions, like I said, just raise your hand or, hey, Frank, shut up for a minute so we can ask you something. So what you're going to see here, we did this on purpose. This is just calls for service that are pending, and these are our locations. Right here was the ShotSpotter activation. It pops up as a gun. It shows on our map for about an hour. But as soon as that happens, now you still have the piece. The drone currently isn't just launching autonomously completely by itself. You have to actually, basically order it or dispatch it yourself. So once that's done, it takes about 20 seconds. You hit launch, and this is where it's going. It's autonomously going to launch, climb to 200 feet. We have what they call the beyond visual line of sight waivers. So it is going to go out and go to that location of where that ShotSpotter was actually activated. Right now, we're just monitoring. This is the speed of the drone. This is where the camera's looking, and this is our target right here. And you'll see it stop right here because of the way that we want to do it. We want to stand off and get eyes on and try to get situational awareness very quick so we can provide that information to the men and women that are responding. And that's the hard job. This is the easy part. So we did this on purpose. We slowed it down a little bit. This is just when you want to look at thermal. As Kerry said, you can see things like, shell casings, a gun, maybe a down party, and also, just maybe what's going on. Now, all this data is being provided to our real-time operation crime center. So they're on top of, you have all these resources working together to try to make a safe outcome and get people into custody. This is the actual location of where that ShotSpotter's at. You can see this blue line. For those of you that are, bosses, there's an accountability piece. We can tell you where the drone was at what moment, and where that camera was looking, and where it was stationed and all that. So if you get a report that, hey, there was a drone and they were looking in my window, I was taking a shower, I was doing something, there's a transparency page, and all this data is kept inside the program. So you can account for what our men and women are doing if it rises to that level. I think it's very important for that function. Now you can see the camera's just looking. This was another one. This is the location. You can see the spot right here. The camera's in a wide angle, and you'll see us zoom down. So now when we're there, that is the spot. That is the actual spot that the shot system actually located and identified to tell us to start looking in that area. Now, obviously, you have map overlays, which are the street addresses and the locations. And then when it's done, all this data is being loaded. It's being saved, and it ties into our systems with, we're an Axon customer, so it goes into evidence.com. So when the drone returns back, as right now, all we do is tell it to come back. It's gonna come back and it's gonna land. It'll auto land. As soon as it lands, there's data that gets pulled up. The case files, we get to put all that information into it. And then from a seamless, easy response, it also starts loading that video up into our evidence.com. So all these things that we've all done for all these years of, I got to grab that, I got to get that, I got to do that, do all that. A lot of that now is being streamlined and making us more efficient. And that's a key point for us. All this integrates into our systems. This is the drone just landing. It's just looking for its QR code, and it comes down and lands. You can see the video, it switches off, and it just lands in its dock, and then you'll see a little pop up here that ended. It actually goes to the piece that says, do you wish to upload your evidence? You click yes, and we move on, and we're on our next operation. All right? So with that, that's kind of how the thing happens. Now, when the drone launches, it takes about 20 seconds. Because when we come in, just like our helicopters, when we come in, the first thing I do if I'm covering flights for that night is we go out and we pre-flight our aircraft, our helicopters. So then what happens too is internally within the department, our DFR side, we have drones out on the street that are, with UPB and with some of our other specialty units. But the DFR side, the actual drone as a first responder piece, is being flown outside in our hangar, right outside of my office. We have workstations, and that's being flown currently by our helicopter pilots, us. Now, we bring our folks in, but just overall, reason we kind of did that and kind of set it up that way is, one, because we do have a very robust helicopter operation. We fly about 1,300 hours a year with our aircraft. For those of you, some of you have probably been out, heard it, seen it, and do all that. But we layer the approach when we're working. You might get a drone, you might get a helicopter. Now, we analyze it internally. When the call comes out or we hear it, we'll maybe take and go, well, we can get a drone there real quick, and it'll get there before the helicopter. We leverage the drone as an initial response for situational awareness, and then we leverage our air operations, our helicopters, as kind of a stackable approach, because that becomes kind of the long-term sustained. And as we all know, pursuits or becomes, starts going mobile, the helicopter will take over that. And it's kind of neat because we started as a department with a beta. We started with one dock. It was just one. And we looked at some different systems. We went with this, with Skydio, and we started with the beta at Central. We put it down at our police central, and we started flying it. The goal was, a couple years ago, we wanted to have it, Mark and I were talking, and we were like, we're trying to get this thing prior to the College World Series. We just wanted it for that time frame because we knew how we would be able to leverage it. We were lucky enough that we got it before the CWS, and then we had it all the way through. And I'm going to tell you, once we got it, and once we got to see what what the capabilities and how fast we were responding, that's where we're at now. That we have 9, and we're expanding as we go. So, as a department, for the beyond visual line of sight, there's all these rules with the FAA, and your Part 107. That's the license for the drone side. There's a lot of rules that go with that. It's not that hard. The FAA is getting really good in recognizing to allow departments to get their beyond visual line of sight. It's easier. When we first got ours, it took us about 6 months. We had to fill out all this stuff and do all these things, and then we had to provide data on who's flying, where we're flying, and all that. It was really easy for us because we've got a helicopter operation, and I know that that's unique, that not too many departments have a helicopter or airplane operations. But we got our first beyond visual line of sight, and that opened the whole door for us. Because that allows us now, I can send a drone from here. I don't have to have what they call a VO or somebody watching it. Now you can still fly it, hand fly it, and keep an eye on it and do your thing and just know that it's right there. But we can set here or set at our station and log in and send it, even though the drones, we're at an offsite. So we're about 7-8 miles at our facility, offsite with our operations. But we can send that thing to, it calls, and we're not there. It arrives, and I'll show you some stats from our perspective that allow us to, we're getting there about 50% of the time ahead of our men and women, which when you think about it, that's pretty good, right? I mean, you're getting situational information half the time before our folks arrive. Within our department and within our air operations, I will tell you this, I've been doing this for a few years, and every one of our pilots will tell you this too, that we only exist because we have men and women that carry guns and badges and work the street. If you don't have that philosophy, you will not be in the Omaha Police Air Support Unit. We only exist to support those folks that are doing the hard, tough job. It's very easy for us. I mean, flying is flying. It's great. I'm blessed to get to do what we do, but by God, you better understand when you come online, and that goes for our drone pilots too, your job is to support them and to provide that data and provide that information so we can hopefully save a life. And if you want to debate that after this, I'd be glad to talk to you because you can tell I'm a little passionate about that. But I'm going to open up our actual system here in a minute. But if there's questions, and if anybody's got any questions or anything, we're happy to address those. Yes, sir.
Does your, talk about open air events, but does your ShotSpotter detect gunfire in structures, and do you respond?
ShotSpotter detects outdoor gunfire above 25 caliber. So if it's indoors, unless it's at the breach of a doorway, likely it won't detect it. Does not detect indoor gunfire. Okay, if someone's like out a window of a house and shooting out, it's possible it could be detected, but it's outdoor gunfire.
Okay. The good thing about when that does happen outside like that is that when that alert happens, within 20 seconds, that drone is up and out and gone. Within about 90 seconds, and that's being very conservative. I mean, depending upon, obviously, the way that our systems are set, we got about a 2-mile ring, and you're talking 46 miles, roughly 40 miles an hour, depending on winds and all that. But, straight line distance, we don't have to work around cars and traffic and all these things. That tool is getting there. That resource is getting there pretty darn quick. And it's, again, I think it's great information. And I'm not even going to ask this because I think everybody in here will probably raise their hand. As departments, we're all short personnel, right? Everybody is probably short. Well, to me, we leverage this information and these resources as a force multiplier because we can get there, provide some quick information, maybe help our men and women clear the call quicker and get things done, and then get them moved on so that we don't have calls stacking and all that good stuff. So I know that I always get asked about costs and all that. Yeah, there's a cost piece to it. Don't kid yourself. Every RMS program you got, every dispatch center, everything we've got has a price tag to it. But I look at it from the perspective of when you are leveraging this technology, you're probably, we can get into the whole where you're potentially saving a life. Yes, we are, but in the same token, we're also saving time, energy, effort, and probably making our operations or your department more efficient. Okay? Yes, sir. Yep.
So since the ShotSpotter is connected and everything, but regardless, let's say it was called in inside the structure, you still have the ability to send that drone to that call service like any call service.
We do. So when there's two variables here. We're focusing right now primarily on the on the ShotSpotter. But when you really think about it, and I'll show you this, we're monitoring dispatch. We're listening to the radio. Everything's happening. So we'll go to a missing kid. We'll go to a fight. We'll go to the disturbance, to a noise in the backyard, those types of things. But ShotSpotter, that's the primary of why we're talking initially here. We've just kind of taken it from that. That's one piece of the puzzle to a bigger piece, several things, other things. But yes, absolutely. If we get shots fired or anything that rises to a level that one of our people have to go, we're probably going to send a drone along with it. And that's where it comes down. Like I said, we're at the point now where it's kind of cool that our folks are we call them Raptor units, right? Our aircraft is called Able 1. If we have 2 helicopters up, we have Able 1, and the second helicopter is Able 2. If we put a third one up, it would be Able 3. We have Raptor units, and we have Raptor 1. That's the first one that hits on. Not uncommon that we have Raptor 2, and you hear Raptor 3 on one of our other dispatch channels, because we have that capability to respond to multiple areas and multiple precincts. We also have what they call the beyond our one-to-many. For those of you that don't know, that means that one pilot, one person can control legally with the FAA up to 4 drones. So before we had that, we're one of 11 in the country. Las Vegas Metro, is there anybody? No, because nobody was. Las Vegas Metro was the first one that they were the first ones granted the beyond visual line of sight. The Omaha Police Department was we were in the group of next 10. That were granted. So I don't know what the number is today, but the way that works is prior to this, if we had a ShotSpotter activation and I'm at the council or one of our pilots are at the council, when they launch that drone, they have to stay on that drone. They can't do anything else, right? That's where they're at. Where it becomes like long-term now, we have multiple drones on at our locations. So now what happens, you have that 30 minutes of time frame, roughly battery. And I know that, it could be 30, it might be 33, it could be up a little higher, it might be a little lower if the winds are, looking at things. All those variables come into play. But what we can do now is we can have that drone working the call. If the battery starts getting a little bit low, now the drones are smarter than us because it'll tell us, hey, I'm going home. It's time to get out of here because I got to have so much battery to get back where I'm at. Now, there's variables to that. There's some real cool variables to that. But what it'll do is we'll start watching the fuel gauge or the battery gauge, the battery life, and we'll send another drone, right? So now we've got this one here working and now we send this one and we just hand it off. This one now takes over the operation and handles it. This one gets sent home. We're monitoring it. Now, we're not actively working, a drone on a foot pursuit here and a drone over here doing this. That just becomes a little much. But as far as a handoff, that's what's really nice about it. And you can do that time and time again. The drone comes back, one gets there or one's there. put another one on it, bring that one back, and then by the time that's battery is probably low, you send the other one again, or we send a different one from a different location. The way that we set up our operation is we have overlapping circles, and that's kind of how we did it. You notice I'm staring at you because I'm like, all right.
How is weather affecting your
So weather-wise, I'm gonna back this up. So with helicopter, with our helicopter side, we need 3 miles of visibility, 1,000, and they call it 152, 1,000 feet, 500 feet from clouds, and 2,000 feet below, ABC, above, below, and across. So we need that. So we have weather that deals with our aircraft side, right? Now that we have been awarded with the one-to-many, the one-to-many under the FAA allows us to launch our drones, and all we are required is a mile of visibility and stay clear of clouds. So think about that for a second. If our aircraft, because we get this all the time. Hey, what are your pilots doing when they're not flying? What are they doing? Well, that we have things, we have post flights, all these other things. But now what's happening and what we do too, as soon as we come in, the aircraft's post flighted every flight. I mean, that's just a thing. And then the drone stations are there and radios are being monitored, and we're jumping calls back to on the drone side if we don't have somebody sitting there. But from a weather side, about 26, they fly better than that, but about 26, 30 miles an hour in winds. But what's nice is that we still have air coverage for our men and women when the weather starts getting pretty bad. Because all we need is a mile of visibility and clear clouds. So we can leverage the drones on sometimes when we can't even fly our helicopters. Did I kind of cover that? Did I hit that a little bit?
I didn't know if there's technology where all the texting, the drone itself, it can't perform.
Say that again. I missed
I
that.
don't know if there's technology in the Spider code where it detects that it cannot fly in the weather.
So the drone, each station, and again, this is our systems that we have inside that drone system, and I'll show you one here. It has a weather station, so it'll give you the wind and the the wind, if it'll detect if there's moisture in the air and all these different things. But that's also a requirement by us, is that we monitor the weather all the time because it changes. It's Nebraska. Wait 10 minutes, it'll change. I'm sure there's other states here that it does that too, but it'll go from this to that to that to that. But the drone itself is a weather station. So when you look at it, and we pre-flight every drone, there's a system that we go into to look at every drone before we start launching them. So like if if my shift's ending and you're taking over, you'll sit down and you'll pre-flight every one of those drones. There's a camera system and we spin props, we do all these inspections, and then it's all documented and transferred over. But from a weather side, this is a great resource. Now, reality of it is, you're not gonna fly in freezing sleet and rain and ice, and that thing's gonna, and think about that. You got airlines that, avoid icing conditions. That's bad. We can all imagine what a drone does, right? And as part of that too, with the drone, our systems have a parachute on them. So if the drone loses power or turns in a weird angle, the parachute will deploy and then it'll come down. We fly at 200 feet and below. That's what our Beyond Visual Line of Sight currently authorizes us to fly our drones. I'm still staring at you. I'm coming back to you.
I'm trying to alert myself because we have a project, we've got a grant for carjacking initiative, we're going to be using drones for that. But again, just trying to get as much information about it.
Hey, that's what we're here for. That's why we all go to these things, to pass information, I hope. So, yes, sir.
How do you avoid power lines, telephone lines, other obstacles that could
Great question.
knock some of those babies down?
For those of you that do your research, Skydio is very well known for their obstacle avoidance. And if you want to stick around or somebody, I'll pull up a video that'll make you cringe. Because the first time I got to look at it, I was like, but it actually has a system that it does try to avoid. Now, you can't rely on anything, just like an autopilot in an aircraft. You can't completely rely on it. You have some obligations, but it will, avoid, it'll detect and see and avoid and fly around it. I have a funny story on that because you ask. That was one of the reasons we went with the system that we went with, because we all know how cops and deputies and troopers and federal agents, we all know how we all are. Give us something and we're going to break it, or we're going to do something with it. I mean, it's just, that's what we do. And for those of you that are sheriffs and big bosses, you and I both know that that's exactly what you deal with. You're like, gosh dang it, what do they do now? I mean, it happens, but we're also in the egg breaking business. You know, I mean, that's part of it. But the drones themselves actually are actually detecting. We got one because when we were doing our testing, we had heard all these things, right, about drones, and we still fly we still fly DJI. We have some of those too, but we are migrating to the Skydio system with the indoor drones and with the exterior ones in our docks. So what happened was we were doing some testing. One of our young sergeants was sitting there, and we had just gotten this thing, and he's out flying. Well, I'm at my desk, and I have a Meta headset on because we do a lot of testing. You know, I'm just kind of one of those, I like to just mess with stuff. So I had it on my Meta headset, and it's a huge screen. You know, it's about, like this, just virtually, it's up there. So I have that, and I watched the drone out in front of our hangar. It's just flying around, and I'm watching. I'm just working on that stuff, and I'm still watching, the feed. And so all of a sudden, the drone just kind of goes like this, and about 8 feet off the deck, it just shoots across the highway, goes to this tree line, goes up, over, around, and goes back down, and over by this house, and drops back down, and it goes over here. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, wow, he must be ringing it out. That's in my head. I'm like, he must be out there just kind of, putting it to it, just see what happens. And so it happens, and then all of a sudden it just kind of ends up over here and it stops in this field, outside of these trees. I'm like, well, that's cool. Then it climbs back up, comes back over, lands. No big deal. I look up, and my headset thing, it's called pass-through, so I can see virtually people. So you can come in and I can still, talk to you. And I look, and the individual standing right there, I almost dropped his name, but I won't. But he's standing there, and I flip my headset up, and I go, what? And he's got this look on his face like, and he's holding the drone and the controller, right? And he goes, did you see that? I go, yeah, it was cool. What happened? He goes, no, I forgot to set the return to location height where it should climb up and, fly over to where it's got to be and then get there. It just, because he didn't have it set and activated, it just shot, okay, you want me here, now you want me over there. I'm at 8 feet or whatever I'm at. I'm going to get there. I'm going to, autonomously work through all this. And he's trying to get it, back and get it stopped and all that. And I'm sitting there enjoying the ride. But then he looks at me, and I looked at him, and I go, what would have happened if a semi would have been coming across right at that time? I don't know. And I asked our reps, I was like, hey, just hypothetical. How would this go? And, everybody's going to say, well, yeah, I would catch it. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not looking at Chief Schmatter and going, hey. So we were kind of messing around, and we wanted to see if we could just shoot it across, but we got crushed by a semi. Sorry. I'm not doing that. But anyways, so the systems are very well known for being able to avoid obstacles and all that. Now, we fly out of Central through the downtown area, and you'll see our drones take off, and they have what they call Pathfinder. It works its way through the buildings. It's amazing. It actually really is amazing. It just works its way like this. Now again, you as the pilot or you operating, you have an obligation to monitor that, but it will go and be like, okay, 26 inches, I'm away, and then it'll work its way back over. So it does a lot of the systems that are out there now with drone technology, and I guess I'll just make a lot of you feel better. They've done a really good job of trying to keep our men and women out of trouble or out of doing things that will get them in trouble with the FAA or anybody else. Like there's certain altitude restrictions. The systems will detect that, drop the drone down, and then, put you, like as we get closer to Epley, to the airport over here, there's step downs that we can fly. So the drone itself will do a lot of and provide all that data and information to you. So, yes, sir.
Are battery changes automated, and how long does it, if so, how long does it take to swap that?
They are not automated. I know there's systems coming out that are, doing that or going to be doing that. Very interesting. I think that's intriguing to a lot of people. A lot of moving parts is my take on that. But what we do is we have what they call hives. So we have multiple docks set up Now, the cool thing about this, because you're getting into this, we can launch that dock or that drone, and then if we can land it on site, and if you have a battery, we can ask you to swap it. So you can do it on site, and then we can just launch it again and take it off. And then we also have the capability, again, it goes back to when the battery gets a little bit low, we send another one. Now, charging-wise, and again, this is our system. I'm only speaking on our system. I'm not in a position to talk about other systems. With our system, it's basically, if you think about it like this, it's minute to minute. So if you fly for 30 minutes, it's going to take about 30 minutes to charge. So when that thing comes down, these prongs come up, and it attaches to the drone, and it starts charging. You'll see the system. It'll read out to you. Oh, come on. It'll see like this one right here is charging right now. They just landed. So it's at 67%. That uploading, this is live. This is actually going on right now. This is a live feed. So it's charging, it's uploading, but that's the battery, that's the battery, and this is the battery within the other systems, right? This is our, this is the map side, and I'll produce a different deal, but these are the different stations and the different docks. So all those are available. And the nice thing too is, and again, we're in a metro. It's different for sheriff's departments and all of that. But what I will tell you is with my background with the state, I know that you got a lot of you have big counties and you cover big areas. So, the reality, or maybe how realistic is it to drop, 30 or 40 drones or docks in your county? It's probably not that feasible, right? I mean, maybe it is. But what you can do is I can hand you a Pelican case with one of our drones, which we have a couple of different ones here in our system. Oops. So these are our ones that are in cars. So you can turn that on. So if if one of your deputies or one of your officers goes to a scene and there's 2 or 3 of them, and you don't have a pilot, but you have the system, you have what they call DFR command, and you have all the licensing and everything, and it's not hard to get it. You just got to do some work. All I need you to do is turn the thing on. Turn it on, and this will come online. Like one of these will actually come online. And once that happens, I just commandeer it and I start flying it. I don't need to be on site with you. So if you're 30 miles away on the other side of your county, that's okay. Get the drone there, turn it on, and then I can fly it. Now, you ask about batteries. Hey, I'm going to stay on site. I'm going to work this deal. But you turned it on. You got our Pelican case, and there's 4, 5, 6 batteries. You can never. Oh, that's another thing. You can never have enough batteries. So when your men and women are asking for batteries, get them all. Get them as many as you can get, because you'll never have enough. But what happens is I can just tell you on the radio, hey, what's your name? Connor. Hey, Connor, I'm landing. Can you swap battery? Yeah. I'll probably land it on the roof of your car just for fun. So you don't have to bend down. We like to do that. But then all you got to do is pop it out. I mean, literally, it's easy. You slide the battery out. You take the battery, you put it back in, you turn it back on. I give it 30 seconds. It shows it back online, and I launch again and go back over and start covering whatever we were doing for you. So there's ways to do. You don't have to have just docks. Now that's a cat's meow. But you can do offsite stuff. I can hand you. Where are you from?
Hamilton.
Okay, so I could literally hand you a Pelican case, one of our systems, and say, hey, head on out. And you take it out there, and something happens. You turn it on. It's going to populate in my system, and I'm going to take this map, and you'll see that inside the map system, like this was the last place that particular one was flowing, or I just zoom out, and it'll show where that drone's at, and then I'm just going to click on it and actually start flying it. So you have very big, you have a wide reach to be able to get out and work the systems. You're not just isolated on your island. Now you can still fly it if you're like, oh, I got it, but I could be sitting back here monitoring it, or at the sheriff's department, or you could be at home, and as long as you can communicate with them somehow, they turn it on, you log into a laptop. I mean, this is just me logged in right here. Now, obviously, I'm an admin, but you can set this up where they call you at home, and as long as you got good connectivity and internet, yeah, fly it. And you got to have the beyond visual line of sight and those things. Make sure that's an important piece, because the FAA will be, talking to you. So I'm going to come back to you in a minute, but he's got a deal. All right.
If that technology is awesome, why aren't you setting up like regional instead of everybody doing their own thing? I mean, Omaha's got a lot of resources. Why wouldn't they set up a hub for Adams County to be able to pay in?
As a department, we support anybody that asks. We do metro stuff or mutual aid. So from a departments wide, we were the first ones to get our beyond visual line of sight. And I'll be honest with you, years ago, I mean, you know, the drone unit started with our mobile tech. And at the time, it just wasn't, we were working on some aviation or the man side stuff. But I knew it was coming, you know, at some point. So about 3-4 years ago, however long it's been now, it was moved over under me, under the air side. So we, at that time, even when I was with the State Patrol, we were looking at drones. You know, I think everybody was. Excuse me. So we kind of had before, we have a bill here, so we can't use municipal funds to purchase adversarial country equipment, right? It's a legislative bill. So, but I can fly what they would consider that company if Sean donates $2,000 to me through the foundation, I can go purchase these other things. I just am not allowed to use our agency budget to purchase adversarial country equipment, you know, off the list. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but sometimes I am the tool in the shed. Years ago, I started looking, I'm like, you know, and I wasn't looking at Nebraska, I was looking nationally, kind of a bigger picture with things happening and, you know, rumors and stuff. So we started looking at other companies, US type companies, to do that.
If a town south of Omaha bought the drone and then paid you $8,000 a year to pilot it,
It would be in our fleet right there.
right, that would be much more possible.
You could, yeah, if you, I guess, yeah, I mean, you can, and that's been talked about. But again, you know, we're going to do what we have to, what we're doing. I can't dictate what Sean and his sheriff's department, you know what I mean? That's not, but yes, we have a very broad, big picture. I think that we look at things. So yes, you could do that. You could take a sheriff's department and, you know, a mutual thing and have it all come into one location and fly it. As a department, we're the only ones currently doing this system and doing this in around here. But that goes back to what I was kind of getting at, is we started looking years ago, so we're kind of ahead of the game, we believe. And again, one of the things too that was so intriguing to us is that how it all did integrate. And to go back to what you brought up, that was a piece of it too, is that one of our fugitive task force members, in theory, could have a bad guy or person that they're working, and if they did take a drone because they didn't have anything else, we would have it in our system, and they could be 50 miles away. As long as we have cell coverage, we'll be okay. So there's a lot of ways to be able to do what you're thinking, and we've talked about it, we've looked at it. I mean, because again, I come from a place where I believe in evolution versus revolution. You either evolve with the times or you will get your ass overthrown. And I'm gonna tell you right now, we will not be overthrown. You know, we're not gonna become stagnant. You know, we're gonna leverage all this technology to do our job, to make us more efficient and to obviously protect our men and women. So, all right, I had to come back to you because you're like, hey, you gotta come back, I'm back.
We got this good deal, or Skype demonstration, but I think how your real-time crimes center are the only ability they can push out live feed links. Can you do that with your officers and responders?
Yeah, so as part of this system, let me see if we're flying.
We were sending them to our guys' cell phones and everything.
Yeah, and all it is a quick link QR code. So that's just it. So like say you're at home or the sheriff's at home or whoever, we can go in there and hit a button and we can send it via text, we can send it via email, but we also inside our systems, we have a command link so that if something really bad's going, we send it. We can you know, highlight all those people. I don't highlight it, we just activate that block and then it gets sent out to the chief and to the command and whoever wants it. And that can be shared. So you can be stacked on the door. and you got something going, you could be watching the video feed. And that's a whole nother thing is that, and we've all done this. There's not a department in the world that hasn't done this, where we take a little bit of this, take that, we take this, and then we're hodgepodging to make it all work and do all that. That's the nice thing about that was so also very attractive to us on this system is that it's a one-stop shop. You hit the link, it gets fed out. I can send it to the, if the chief said, hey, send that to the mayor. Well, he's going to get a video feed. So you get real-time command and control operation capabilities.
And you're using that right now.
Yes. Yeah, that's not, we're beyond the stage of proof of concept. We're operational. We are freaking operational like you wouldn't believe. And I'm a little passionate about what we get to do, but these are active calls. These are things going on, around the city. These are just the drones. This is our radiuses. We've got another little radius down here. There's data in here. This is the airport. Obviously, it's red for a reason. But yeah, you can just move the cursor and fly here or highlight that. When the call comes up, I can just touch this and tell the drone to respond to it. Within our body cams in the near future with Axon, our men and women can call for it. They just push a button, and that technology is there. We also we're able to provide map overlays. So it's not the days of, hey, 2 blocks north of the McDonald's and then go left. Well, now 1721 West Sycamore Drive, and God, I hope that's nobody's address. I literally just made it up. 1721 West Sycamore Drive, they're in the backyard on the south side of the deck, hiding. That data is fed in. We're good. We're not that good. And I always tell people, even on our helicopters, because we have that same data to be able to pinpoint the location and provide that address to you. So when we're setting a perimeter or you got something going on, you can, hey, let's get somebody at 32nd. Let's get somebody over at 36. Let's get the perimeter set. And now let the resources start working. Now let K9 start doing their thing. Let the drone work. Let the aircraft work. Let our men and women work. Here we go. The future is, not going away. It's going to get better and better and better. And that's the other thing too is, this technology is moving at the speed of light. So the cameras today are going to be better at some point. These companies have that obligation. The integrations are going to be easier. And that was one of the things too with us is our ShotSpotter integration took all of about 35 seconds. We clicked on a deal with ShotSpotter, activated it. We ran a few tests. Boom, we were done. We're like, okay, cool, that's awesome. Instead of, all right, we got to do that, shut that down, move that, and do this. No, it was just all right there, and that's a key. Now, all that data is fed into our ROC so that they can do their information. So you can feed that live video wherever you want to send it as a boss. All right? Are there any other questions? All right, yes. No, so inside you have two systems, and right now we have, there's actually 3, but right now we're operating 2. So you have a radio, which is like the hand-to-hand, like from me to there to the drone, the connectivity. So you have that capability, but then also inside the systems, we have SIM cards. So you have 5G cellular that allows you to do what it does. So that's how we get away from the antenna or the controller. As long as you've got cell network, and as we all know, low-level cell networks are pretty good, 5G. Now, you can add what they call, it's called a dual bonded SIM card. You can add 2 in there. So I was hitting the guys up from first, and I seen them like, hey, can I have a couple free? They said no, a couple free SIM cards. But you can actually, like, say you're a Verizon company, or maybe you're T-Mobile, or you're First, or whatever. You can put in 2 SIM cards, because now what is happening is it's looking and doing its own thing. And it's going whatever the best signal is, and it's seamless to you as a pilot. You're not dealing with it. You're not sitting there going, oh, switch to AT&T now. No, it just goes, there's my best signal, this is where I got, and it's seamless and easy for you. There's nothing you have to do.
How's the latency?
I'm sorry?
Is there any latency?
Well, so it's like anything else. Overall, not really, but I tell people, I'm like, hey, tell me why you were just talking to somebody and your cell phone just went, boom. It's technology, yes, there could be, but if you have good signal, it's pretty close. But again, you can't rely on just that. But at least from a situational awareness, you might see it drop down a little bit. You know, and there's companies coming out with, as you know, most of us have hopefully done our research that with Starlink and other systems and all that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, I mean, leverage all that to make yourself safer and, you know, your operation better. All right, I think we're at our time. I'll be around if somebody wants to grab me or yell at me or do anything. I'm happy to visit with you and show you anything. Yes, ma'am.
You want to screen with your contact info?
I do, but I'll give you my business card. I'll give you a screenshot of, we didn't add in our here, I'll go to, oh, you know what? We closed it. I'm sorry. So, hey, thanks for your time and your attention. And we wish you all the best of luck. Be safe and come back to Omaha. We're trying to buy helicopters and drones and toys and things.